My name is Rafael. I'm Nukon CTO, and I'll be presenting today our tool that we're about to soft launch in the MindSphere store. So TilliT running on MindSphere is all about orchestrating machines, people, and systems. So it's a tool that allows us to create workflows where we receive events from control systems, machines, IoT devices, and then we control how people are engaged in actions, into prescribed tasks. And then we can also integrate to ERPs or asset management system to automate some of that process. The ideal candidate for this is somebody that realizes that it runs a business process in their factory, in their facilities, and they want to automate some of that business process and define better the relationship between all these machines, all these events, and how people, engineers, technicians, or operators should respond to those machines events. We've been using TilliT on food and bev to do more the quality checks and the quality side of the process, but we've also been using the same technology on water utilities to help automate the reaction of alarms from control system and what people should do or how other systems should behave. So depending on the alarm that you're getting, you might want to generate a service order automatically, or depending on the alarm, you might want to check some other context and informations to come up with an action for a technician to execute. It's really around bringing the people, the workers in focus. We talk a lot about Industry 4.0, and part of the end goal has to do a lot with a higher degree of automation, where maybe people get replaced by AI and by machine learning. And what we talk about here is somewhere in between, where you still have an operator, you still have a human being, but what you want to do is get that person to be more connected. So you want systems and machines to give them tasks and actions to execute upon. So a lot of the system that we see is really much focused on asset performance and data visualization, and less focus on actually people, process and work. So what we get with TilliT is also a visibility around your workforce performance from an execution of their day-to-day job. My name is Rafael. I'm Nukon CTO, and since I started at Nukon together with Alec about 5 years ago, my role was always about looking ahead of the latest technology and seeing how we apply this into industry operations, manufacturing, and so on. So it was really interesting when I came across with MindSphere, and once we became partners, and I started to, because I'm usually the guy that goes in first and poking at the tech. And actually, before we even started working with MindSphere, I've been developing an application that helps us deliver some of the value to our customers. And once I saw how MindSphere worked, I could really see my application working together. So after a couple of weeks, we ported the application into MindSphere, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So what's the two presentations in the beginning was really, quite on topic here, intentionally, I guess. But really, what we were shown today is kind of that end state, that level 5 autonomous vehicle, and some people call it in the manufacturing, a lights out manufacturing environment. So a lot of integration with machines, a lot of automation and AIs everywhere. But what we commonly see when we go on the grounds on our customers on site is that there's a bit of a gap between what we see, this end come, and what, because I remember a automation manager telling me that we give iPads to our kids to go to school, but we give clipboards to our operators. So we see this big gap between what we call Industry 3.0, which is like today in a lot of these environments, and the promised Industry 4.0. So we're here a bit to talk about that. How do we bridge that gap? So for that, I decided to invite Alec here. He's responsible for maintenance of several water treatment plants.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, so that's Alec. So Alec came to me with a vision of improving the way he maintains a few pumps in a water treatment plant. And I thought that was very interesting. He wanted to be a little bit more digital, more innovative. So currently Alec services the pumps based on the calendar. So every 6 months he sends a crew out there and just does some repairing and some changing some parts. And he thinks that if he had the visibility of the utilization or the duty cycles of the pumps, he could save money by servicing them just based on utilization. Seems, fair enough. So I gave him just that. So this is Alec's SCADA system, and what we did was next to their PLC we installed this Mind Connect Nano, right? So really, really easy. We were able to go into MindSphere and set up our Nano box into the PLC, and then start building our tray with a water treatment plant. I knew this was happening. I had everything loaded up.
Well, that's the security that you heard about. That's logging this out.
So once we set up the tray with the different tanks and the different pumps, we could set up the different aspects, and we can then see in Fleet Manager the cycles going up as expected. So yeah, so I guess this was great.
That's great, Raph. You've got me situationally aware. I can see everything I need to see, and I can just go in here, log in here every day, and then figure out when I need to order things. So you've pretty much satisfied everything I wanted. Or maybe we can do a bit better though.
Yes, so a lot of our talk is around orchestrating machines, people, and process. And what does that mean, really? Well, just looking at the cycles, maybe it's not enough. And yes, we can set up rules and get some events popping in, but you'll end up just like the SCADA system with all the alarms and all that things flashing. So maybe I should ask Alec and see what is his end-to-end process to understand how their operators interact with the pumps.
Yeah, so once we realise we're going to service the pumps, we get some parts, and hopefully then we just go and implement it and do the changeover. Okay,
so if I understand correctly, once you reach a certain a level of utilization, you need to make sure that you have the parts. So you need to go out and purchase them.
Yeah, sometimes because we haven't got them in stock.
Perfect. And then once you reach a second set point, then you send out a crew team there, and then you have it all working. That's great. So this is where I'm going to present TilliT. So the whole point of TilliT is to be a orchestration tool where we can automate some of that process, right? So this is TilliT. TilliT's running natively on MindSphere, so you just open up in the Launchpad. Let me just show you the Launchpad here. There's a little TilliT with the M of MindSphere over there. And then what you have in the screen is just your typical asset tree. And what it allows, what it gives on top of what you have in MindSphere is a concept of tasks. So each asset will have their own tasks, and then the operators can go and open and execute them. But how do we get tasks into MindSphere? Well, you have a modeler. And in this example, because we're trying to monitor the cycle of a pump, I created a sample here where we have the automation working. And I'm going to go through this quickly so that you understand, and I guess anybody will be able to read what's going on here. So every day we'll start this process, and what it's going to do is going to grab all the assets. And it's doing that by connecting to the MindSphere API. So everything's native MindSphere, right? All I'm doing is orchestrating. Then for each asset, I'm going to go out and grab the current cycles. Remember that the tag? That's what I'm grabbing. And here, what I'm doing is I'm just comparing. I'm comparing the set point that's set in MindSphere, in the asset, and to this value. And then I'm going to have a human task. This is a new thing. There's a human task here. So it's going to confirm. It's still a trial, so we're not fully automated. We're going to ask somebody to confirm, yes, I want a purchase order. And then once the confirmation is correct, then I'm going to go out to my ERP via REST API, and I'm going to create a purchase order. That sounds good. For the service order, for the second set point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger a different workflow. So this allows you to expand, right? So I'm going to show how that workflow looks like. So that's my typical maintenance workflow. And I drew this as I was talking to Alec, and he was explaining that when there is a need to service, the first thing is that the manager approves it. And he approves it, he schedules, and he gives a priority. That's great. This is what it's doing. I'm creating a maintenance task. I'm getting an approval by the maintenance planning team. I'm going to schedule. And then once I get it scheduled to somebody, it goes out to the tech to execute it. And here, I've even added the creation of the work order on the ERP. Right? So one of the cool things is that this is actually what runs the code, right? So it creates a really good transparency between the business, the customer, and what's running. So if we need to evolve and create new versions, we can easily. All right, so let's see this working. Now before I'll go in, because the pumps are not ready to have purchased or not, I'm playing God here. I'm just gonna fast forward time, and I'm gonna set the pump one to be over 1,000, which I know is my set point. So just by setting that, it goes to MindSphere, and then I can go back to tasks, and I'm just gonna simulate it. So as expected, I get a new task. So this is the human coming in and saying, yep, I'm okay. I know that I reached a certain purchase order set point. I'm going to go out and I'm going to create it. Now I can go to my ERP. This is by the way, just a demo ERP. And I'm going to my purchase, and I can see the new task that just got created there. Okay. So now let's look at the service order. So I'm going to just drop this down. I'm going to go to the pump 2. There you go. That's the PLC refreshing. And I'm going to go over the service order. So I'm just going to run this quickly. And now I get a service order task, as we saw on the design. So I'm going to create that service order. And it's going to start the approval replace process. So this is where the manager can step in and perform the approval. So what we've done with TilliT also is we build, because we understand that mobility is key nowadays, so we actually build a mobile device app. So it's a whole different UI that is much more mobile. But you have the same experience that you see here on any mobile device that you open, whether it's an Android or iPhone. So once I'm here, I can go into my task list. And I can play the manager and say, all right, I need to approve this. To go ahead, I'm going to approve it. I'm going to ask to create a service order in the ERP system. Okay, that triggered the maintenance task in the ERP system. So let's check it out. So I can see one new task here. That's the task that just got created. And then I can go back and schedule that to Mark. Just schedule that to Mark as a technician. And this is where the task that Mark would do shows up for him. And then he can go out and write back what he did. Now, the interesting thing here is that everything that you see is actually being collected, right? So when you actually have Mark going out, we can start tracking, okay, when did Mark receive the task? When did he go? Was he unable to execute? How long did it take to actually perform the task? So you start getting some feedbacks out of that alarm or out of the event. So really what I tried to show today is that intermediate step in the digitalization journey where in between the moment that the machines, you know, overtake. And we have this intermediate step where you can add a server to get the events from systems and machines and then start to prescribe tasks over to operators that can then go out and perform the task, but also feedback what they did. And so we have the full visibility. The way the code actually works is really clear, and it makes the development and that process to work with the business developing this process quite simple and transparent. So we use this, the duty cycle is just an example, but we use this for quality processes, for smart alarm reactions and other use cases. And the way we connect to people is really around that orchestration piece, that task-based, which is a bit of a change in the way we see, you know, systems. It's not the click that you need to teach somebody to use because they're being given the orientation. And as a result, you get really good, searchable, and accurate data. And that data feeds back to your process for it to be optimized. That data gives you more insights that you weren't looking. And you get also some good analytics and visualizations around where's the bottleneck of your process, where are the pain points, where is it delaying. So in general, for the workforce, the task guides the operator. So you're less reliant on the worker knowing exactly what he needs to do from a process. They get inducted, they get trained, but you don't really know for sure what he's doing in a day-to-day. This way you direct that, that action. These tasks can be generated by multiple sources, and this is where MindSphere comes in. We can create tasks like I showed just by the events. So if Rex was showing the visual flow, a visual flow can generate an event can trigger a workflow. You can also do that by analytic results as well using visual flow and so on. And then you can start working with due dates and expiry and all sorts of BPMN functionality. So for the manager, it's really about not tracking just the asset performance, also about tracking the workforce performances. So it's giving you a lot of new visibility that you might not have. So you start getting insights around people activity. And you increase the adherence to what's the design process and what's actually happening. So in summary, TilliT provides us a way to orchestrate machines, systems, and people. And there is proven track record of this improving efficiency of people by these prescribed tasks. And we believe that this provides a good pathway towards Industry 4.0, especially when this integrates really well with AI, where the AI is actually, you know, giving you a prediction, a decision, and that can feed into the workflow as an execution.